All right. Here we go. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Sorry for the lateness starting the stream there, but hopefully everything's looking good. Levels looking good. Testing, testing. There we go. Yes. All right. Hi. Welcome to another week, another stream, another day, another time. What to work on this week? What are we going to work on? Good question. I don't have a whole thing. So Adventure Engine. Let's take a look at the Adventure Engines. We've been working on that for quite some time. Adventure Engine. Bam. I think there's some stuff to do here. I should probably update my stream description so that it tracks. Yeah, I'm just building interactive fiction engine in Haskell. Super. Okay, updated, I think. So there we go. Okay, cool. Yes. So last week I worked a little bit on messing around with embedding Lua in Haskell and learned a fair bit about a little bit about Lua, a little bit about Haskell and embedding languages and things like that in it. It and part of that is because like I think for the next project I might want to do that multiplayer game server. And my goal with that is to make it scriptable in Lua, of course. But this week, we should probably somewhat wrap up what we can with this adventure game engine and just kind of like put a little bow tie on it. I mean, there's lots to do with this game engine. There's lots where we could go with it. And I think we're getting close to something reasonable, minimal, viable usefulness. And could call it like, okay, there, let's cut a version there and just say, let's build a game with that. And that'll be that. And not get too much further in it. And then we can move on to another project and try something else. Yeah, so let's see. Last time we worked on this, we were just doing some cleanup with adding some lenses to the engine, as I recall. Let's look at the recent commits. Yeah, refactor engine to use lenses. I think we did that mainly for the game state, which was fairly helpful. Mainly it's getting rid of those nasty pattern matches, which pattern matches on records are like good in a small scope in a couple of places, but this code base is growing to a place where all these little handler functions are doing it a lot, so it's getting very annoying. So I'm very glad about that. Is there any other cleanup work we could probably do tonight? Probably. I think the world object might be next. So let's take a look at the world object, or the world record. Adventure, engine, objects. Container, and game objects. Those are going to need them as well, because those are kind of annoying to use. We're using a lot of pattern matching destructuring for some deeply nested stuff, and that's kind of a good sign there that you want to use lenses. So the world here, there we go. Let's see, world has their JSON instances, and that's about it. And our game state has the make fields there. World, does that even have? I'm going to search for that. And we do have a make fields for world, so let's just move that up a little higher. So it kind of matters where you put template Haskell stuff inside of a module file because it expands the code out and dumps it in the file there at compile time. Super useful, but things might reference weirdly in the source file, so you just got to be aware of that. Let's dump it maybe after the instances. I'm going to fire up my compiler. Bam. Cool. And fast file watch. Okay, let's get rid of that change. I might have caused that. Yeah, I did. Okay. So that was kind of one of, I think I remember earlier in this project we'd tried moving them before and caused a whole bunch of problems, and I gave up on it for a bit. So let's see if we can, we're running into it again. Let's see if we can fix that. So I put it there, that caused the problem. Verb alias map is the issue. Probably, maybe because this is defined, this should be defined up beforehand. I'm not super sure, I'm just kind of messing around here, so hopefully this will fix things by moving this type up here. Yeah, that seemed to be the problem. So I guess somewhere in the generated code it needed to have this in scope in order to make the fields. And it wasn't, because it was after this template Haskell definition. So moving it up there seems to have done the trick. Okay, now that we have the world lenses in place, there's a few places where we're kind of updating things in the world, like we're referencing rooms, objects, to move things from inventory, to move the player around. So let's go look at those. Handling walk. We're also going to get some binding errors because of the generated lenses now. Okay, so like, for example, this world rooms one here. Let's see, we bind it here in a let binding because we use it a little further down. Here and here. Yeah, there and there. And player room. Yeah. Well, we could add those inline into the expressions. That might not add too much. For example, here. Just comment that out temporarily. So I get the type error if I'm missing it anywhere else. And right here. Eh. I mean, it's a little bit subjective if that makes the code better or harder to read. It's one less binding. And I find bindings have a pretty high cost in some cases. The more names you have in scope, the more like the reader has to keep track of. I mean, but these ones are pretty convenient, which is why I'm kind of like on the fence about it. I'm not sure that changing player room to world player room and having a world in there is better? Question mark? But let's keep going with it. Let's see how it reads after we're done here. So rooms, world rooms, yeah, we can comment that one out. We get a similar effect here. I mean, I guess kind of the advantage of it is that you can see it's kind of tied to the world object, so where this binding is coming from, you don't have to look at the let bindings, maybe. Another one is over here. And do we have one more? Oh, we have this adjust here. Right. Player room. However, it's increasing my line length a little bit, which is kind of annoying me. Why isn't it liking that? No, it doesn't like it anymore. Okay, what did we do here? Probably got something messed up with the names here. Do. Yes. That should be fine. Player room. These ones might be a little bit weird. Generate the wrong things. Okay. And we're looking up. Oh, right. We changed that expression a fair bit, didn't we? We have to look up in the world. What did I do? Yeah. Let me get my diff. Hmm. Okay. I was supposed to have a world prime. For one. Okay, there we go. Good. GHC catching me. So yeah, these should be world primes because we get that binding out of the game state. Okay, and previously where we used objects is here. So we can get world prime of the objects. This one has a problem because... Let's see here. Couldn't match type map that with function, a big function. Okay, objects is not... why isn't that the right thing? It's world prime. Is that name not the right one? Yeah, no, world objects. So the generated name should be the lowercase word objects. That looks fine to me. Uh, hmm. Yeah, we're looking up the object ID in the world objects. That's not right. And yet, I wonder if it's like maybe just like a parsing issue? Because that seems to work just fine and happy dandy. Oh, maybe it's because I had this still in scope and I didn't comment it out. That's probably what it was. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Yes. Let's... Oh no, how did this happen? Oh no, not again. Windows, why? Curse Windows. Sometimes, man. Oh, I needed to actually do a thing. Off the keep log. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Now we're back in business. I can get my hands back in my home row here. There we go. World prime. Objects. This should do it. There we go. Okay. We can get rid of that. Where do we use player inventory? Right there. Okay, so we can comment that out as well. Yeah, so that's going to be the problem with that. I thought was going to happen. So let's go to the world record. So when you're using make fields, so to kind of auto-generate the code, it's making some assumptions about how you've named things inside your record in order to look things up and generate all the lookup functions and stuff. And one of the conventions it uses is that it make fields uses this underscore and the name of the record lowercase. And then everything after that is the field name. And as I've been kind of using the lenses, you might have noticed that yourself. So lowercase rooms, lowercase objects are now functions that we have in scope that work with lenses in the lens library to access these fields in the record using the little helper syntax, kind of make things a little more concise. When you don't use that, though, it doesn't pick it up. So if we want to do that, we have to do it like this, which is going to break a whole bunch of stuff. And we'll have to go fix those. But thankfully, we will get pointed out where to do all the fixes. And eventually, we'll be able to use setters for a lot of this code here instead of record update syntax. And that will be super happy fun times. That's going to be the real benefit, I think, to this refactor. I like record update syntax just fine. It's good for what it does. But as you can tell, it gets a little verbose. And not in like maintaining readability kind of verbose, in a kind of like repeating yourself a lot more than you need to, sir. Or ma'am. Or whatever you want to be called. Whatever your honorific is. We should have more honorifics. Maybe previous, yeah. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, and the next one are going to be the player verbs. World player verbs, world player inventory. That should be fixed once all of this is good. Okay, a couple more, a couple more. Okay, no more errors that way. Now we're back to this one. Oh, that's because that needs to be a world prime. That should be that. Okay, more bindings to fix. Let's do them. Oh, right, that needs to be world prime. Now, lenses do, like these lenses do compose together. We could get all the way from game state to the player verbs just by chaining these together like you would, kind of like in a deeply nested object hierarchy in an object-oriented language. You can go like game state.world.playerverbs, and if you kind of squint and pretend this caret isn't here and you just look at the dot, you can kind of see them. And they sort of compose together that way, which is kind of nice. But I'm going to leave the world prime binding in there, I think, for now. Unless it gets in the way, and then I will destroy it. And we will compose together some lookup functions that use the lens. Okay, this one. Object name. Oh, actually, object name, no. That one's used, isn't it? Rooms. Okay, I think we can get rid of that. Next. Next. Player pause. All right, we can change that to just a little prime of the player room. We have another instance of it here. And then player inv. I have it down here. Yeah, good, good. Okay, next. Boom. Here we go. Objects. Down here. Another player inv. Okay, I think we're good there. Except we have player. Oh, that should be a world prime there. Yes, now that should be good. GHC says you're good. Okay. This binding. Oh, yes. Well, this one shadows the new field we just added to the module with the template Haskell. Yeah. We can get rid of this pattern matching out, I think. Okay, let's see what kind of type errors we get. Messages. I think that'll fix that. It's not. Why isn't it? Let's just check. Player messages. Guess what it's called. That's why. Player messages. Okay, and exits is used down here. So we can just replace that with world exits. And that should fix that one. And we have a couple places where we use W. Excellent. This one. Oh, no. It shadows... What's it shadow? It's shadowed the game state world, I bet. Okay, so... Let's... I think those are all the uses of it. There. We'll call it... Some of the old prime thing. And then we get... world prime. That's probably that. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. Next. Okay, they're all up here. Right. We'll just shorten that one. We'll call it just player inv. Okay, and then we got a couple here, like with handle walk, player room. We could just get rid of that. That's a world prime with a player room. Is there any more? Oh, a few places. Rooms. Yeah, used in a few places. So let's comment it out. Get some type errors. And I think those are looking good. So we'll move on to the next one. Okay, that one's... modify exit. We can get rid of that. Where we get the world prime of exits. Sweet. Next. Don't even need that binding anymore. And last one. I'm going to be more consistent, fix get exit ID in a second here. Once I fix this, bam, world, objects. Nope. There we go. Okay. All right, no more type errors. Everything's compiling. Nice refactor, everybody. Nice refactor. Well done. And point. Venture engine. Shaboink. All right, walk the front door, drop the shovel. Lock the door. We're outside again. Pick up the purse. Walk through the front door. It should be unlocked now. Everything's good. Okay, let's commit it and review it. So we moved some types around, but the main change here is that we changed the accessors in the CNA record. Player inventory and player verbs become world player inventory, world player verbs. This allows us to make fields and world a little earlier in the file so that we can refactor a bunch of our functions to now use those lenses instead of all that record destructuring, pattern matching stuff, whatever you want to call it. So it looks a little better. It's made some of the expressions a little longer because we moved some helpful-ish let bindings down into our equations. But I think, I'm hoping anyway. I mean, if we want, maybe we should move them back up. Like, what would that look like? For example, this one would be, well, not that one, maybe. Actually, this one should be like this. We can make it like this now. And that just shows how you can chain them together. What's this warning we're getting from the lint? Oh, we can just chain them together with, sorry, normal function composition. That's right. We don't have to use the view operator twice. Or the view function. The operator version of the view function, but its name is view. But when we have the lenses on the right-hand side of that, you can compose the lenses themselves, the lens functions, with just regular function composition. So, right, like, that's kind of nice, because now we just have player inf. It's short. We don't have to have this expression inline in our record update syntax. I'm kind of hoping that might go away when we start using refactoring with the setters. I just want to look at a couple more objects before we call this done. Well, there's an opportunity to use one there. See, room map here. Like, it's nice having just room map like that. But changing this to a lens expression doesn't add a whole lot. It just flips things around. You know? Which arguably could be nicer, depending on how you think about things. Hmm. Right, or we can just replace this, right, as we have been doing. Ah. For some reason, I can't do it today. There we go. Yeah. I don't like that it's going over the columns, and I don't like having to stack it up if I don't have to. But I'll stack it. It's how we do. We pull things to the left as much as we can. Pull them to the left. Commented out code should just get removed. So it's like, it's okay. I would be okay if we wanted to, or somebody submitted a patch and wanted to kind of let bind some of those back and put those back, but I think it's fine. Let's not have strong feelings about things that don't matter a whole lot. It's good enough. Okay, refactor engine to use world lenses. So added. Didn't really add anything. Changed. Yes, we changed the player inventory. And player verbs, fields of the world record, the world prefix, so that fields could be generated for them. Refactored verb handlers. Use world lenses. I'll change fields to lenses so it's a little less confusing. Yeah. Okay. That should be good. Okay. Let's see about using setters. Let's start with some of the handlers since we use record update syntax quite a bit in here. Okay, let's go to, let's see, let's try handle drop. Okay, so let's turn this into using setters. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to and I have to remember the syntax for it. It's kind of where we use it somewhere else in the code base, but I think it's like a world room, the rooms, lens, and then we use the set2 operator, which is tilde dot, and adjust. I can chain them together, more of them like this, I think. Player inventory. And I'll do 2 up to there. And, oh, why can't I find it? Oh my god. Bleh. Player verbs. We can get rid of that. I think, are we happy? We're not happy. Okay, knotted scope. Tilde dot. That's the operator from lens that I thought should be here. Are we importing things weird? We're just hiding one. Where do we use? I think we use it in the GUI module. Because that uses lens because of monomer. Do. I think it'll be like model and oh, it's dot tilde, sorry. Dot tilde. Flip that around. I wonder why that is. Okay, now it's happy. So pull things over a little bit more. That's nicer. I don't think we have lenses per room, so we can't replace this record update syntax here. And game state does have lenses now. So we might be able to replace this lift output and lift get structures with something else. But I'm going to do that in a separate step. All right, we could replace this part here though with a lens expression with W plus. Let's shorten that a little bit. All right, let's keep going. Let's do looking container next. Ooh, missed one. We'll do game state like that. W is going to get things so we can let W equals game state world. And get everything working back there again. Okay, we don't have a whole lot of record update going on in there, but we have pattern match here we can get rid of. We should. That's the only time we use W's, so let's just do game state world. Okay, looking container, not a whole lot. We're good. Probably because we're just looking at and we're reading stuff, not updating things, so that makes sense. Handle look. Same thing. Pick up. Well, that does update the world state, so we have thing here. A little to-do reminder for me. Add support for container verbiage. I think that means like, yeah, some handy helper functions to make working with containers a little easier. So we'll put that in the main to-do file. Okay. So again, all we have to do to transform this, right, is to add our little ampersand that I have a really hard time typing tonight. Our lens, and then we can change the equal sign to dot tilde. And dot tilde. And here we go again. Get rid of that. Boom. We can get rid of this one. Dot tilde, W prime. Just get rid of that. And I think that's all of those there. Good, good, good. Handle walk. Let's see, it's got a little bit. So let's fix it up. Those. Okay, and game state. Here, of course, we know that one. Replace that with the game state worlds. And this with good old world dot tilde W prime. And honestly, this is like 90% of how I use lenses for the most part. I just use view and set. I don't get too fancy with them. I might get a little fancier when we need to access deeply nested like sum types. Because then you have to use what are called prisms. to break into the different branches of the sum type. So like if you have your maybe, you got your just or your nothing. If you have a maybe somewhere in your record, in one of your fields of your record, and you need to dive in further into the value in there, then you have to have a prism in there. But that's about it but for the most part, if your records are pretty straightforward and don't have those any sum types in there, then I just use set and get, and that's all you have to you just kind of commit it to memory and it goes away. Like what the hardness. Like we've seen some of the type errors get pretty kind of unconventional, to put it lightly, with lenses which are famous for having really bad error messages if you're just learning Haskell. So most people will tell you to turn away from them. Don't use lenses if you're just starting out. And that's pretty good advice, pretty sage. But don't discount them either. If you can remember a couple of mnemonics, you can get lenses. So come back to them when you're ready, and don't think you have to be a Haskell expert or Haskell master before you can start using them and benefiting from them. So that is handle walk. I think that's most of the verbs. Let's examine, doesn't need it. Take might. So let's do take. We need game logic lenses. That'll be next in our growing list of things to refactor. But we have a world prime here that we can change to an update, so let's go do that. Sorry, that's on the wrong side of things, isn't it? Dot tilde. Change that to an ampersand. Dot tilde. And then we can get rid of that bracket. Yeah, there we go. And we know how to fix the game state one too. So let's just do that while we're here. Prime, and then we have to change that to a dot tilde. Oh, we don't need state world. Just needs world. Okay, dig is probably good. Oh, nice. Yes, we use a lot of handy functions here for handling all that stuff. So good on us. Yeah, we can clean that up there while we're there. Okay, object interaction, the big nasty one. Can we do anything here? Yes, we can. So this one has a world prime because we update the world of record syntax. I think we can get rid of that and get it shored up a little bit here. Maybe we can do this. A game state world. Objects dot tilde, and then I'm gonna just grab that equation there. That sub-equation, part of the equation? Expression? I'll put this one here. Error messages. Now we can change that to well, we already have world prime in, so yeah, that'll be world prime layer messages. And this will be world prime objects. I think this ought to work. Maybe. Fingers crossed. Not quite. Okay. Famous error message time. Couldn't match type world with game state, arising from a functional dependency between the constraint as world game state, arising from a use of world. Instance has world game state of world. In the second argument. So what this, yeah, this is one of those famous weird error messages. So I'm doing and here with these two setters. I'm expecting to be working on a world, updating a world object. And the first one is matching a world, I think, but the second one is not. I think that, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Oh, we get world prime here. No, it's going to move the problem up there. Okay. So I think basically what I have to do here is, I'm not sure if I can nest these set operations or compose them together, like multiple ones. Well, at least I think you should be able to in theory, but I'm not sure. Well, that's basically the problem. Like if I just did game, went back to going world prime prime. This should be fine. And then game state and world dot tilde equals basically world prime prime. That would work. Yeah. I'm curious now. I want to know, is there a way for us to set multiple fields? Like this one we're familiar with. Oh, traversals. Okay. This is the fancy usage of stuff that I'm like, nah, I don't know. I don't do too often. So this works just fine. Maybe we can learn about traversals sometimes and up our lens powers, but for now, this is good enough. Yeah, okay, moving on. Object command, that's fine. Containers, we don't have that stuff for, so everything else looks good. Use, all good. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, cool. Let's review. Yeah. So we're dropping a line. Getting a little shorter on the columns in most cases. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's kind of what I was hoping would happen. Okay, so stage it, commit it. Vector engine. Use setter lenses. For world updates. Handlers. Cleaned up some missed pattern matches. I don't know, they're called pattern matches or destructors. I don't know. There we go. Cool. That's that. What else can we do? Well, we're not. We're in the. We're in an accept T monad over a state. Monad state monad. And there's some helper lenses for setters and getters over state monads in particular. Maybe we can figure out how to use them. Okay, lens state monad. And they basically look like that. You have your dot equal for what looks like assignment into the state. You have a plus equal for modifying a state. Minus equal, I think, are the other ones. Lens. And they are I don't know which module they're in exactly. Does that image get bigger? It does, oh, sort of. Yeah, okay, so it works on monad state, as you can see from, hopefully it's not too blurry, because I'm just, for some reason, it's a rastered image. But you get these functions here that have a monad state constraint, and then you get setter, bm, so on and so forth. So I don't know. What I'm not sure about is if we can, because we have to lift our state operations into the accept T monad context, if we can use them here. We do have the monad state constraint on M for our function. So maybe? So those are setters. Getter. That's a funky one right there. % equals. I guess it looks like it's for some sort of continuation or higher order thing. Interesting. Reuse was also a monad state thing. Not sure what that's all about. Maybe we can use the getters. But for example, let's go down to a place where, let's look down to a smaller one. Start with handle drop again. This line here, 592. We have a lift.put with the game state that we updated. I'm wondering, how do we use, if we can use dot equals? Get rid of the put. You can even get rid of that altogether. World dot equals. Not sure if this is going to compile or not, if I'm going to get a weird error. And I am getting a weird error. World is applied to too few arguments. Not quite right. Oh, so objects is the lens right off the bat, off the game state. So we don't even need that game state thing at the beginning. We just go lens dot equals. But that's a problem because text. With this funky thing. Use. Okay. Okay. So we can replace world prime here. With use worlds. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So this example from this Stack Overflow thing, right? Lifting because we're lifting an IO action into state T and binding that the result of that to new. So a new list of objects. Now objects here is a field or lens on game, which is our state value. So I can do that with dot equals new. Yeah, that looks fun. It it works nicely in simple cases, but um yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing so let's just not use it. Let's get rid of more. Bow, bow, bow. How much time we got? Let's see. Now I'm getting all these weird typos. Oh no, what did I do? Hopefully this is going to be easy to back out of, yeah. Okay. That didn't quite work. So do we have a setter SSAB, which takes the value we want to set, B, and returns an M unit. Our M being a monad state. So setter state to state, AB. Okay. And our basic field gives us, let's say, world. A has world SA with functor F. A to FA and S, that's our state. Or like our S thing. My world there works on that, right? I'll have to enable a bunch of extensions to mess around in here. Oh, default game state. The function, isn't it? Take the world. We don't have a default world anymore. Okay. Let's look at the type of bum. Yes. Getting ASA. I wish I understood this stuff a little better. Maybe that we can find a tutorial or an example. Haskell, lens, state, T. This is the tutorial that Stack Overflow question is based on. Cool, cool, cool. So somebody else learned this too. Okay. So boss is a field or a lens in there. Health is another one. So the two lenses composed together over the state with minus equal 10. That should be fine. In our code, we want to pull out the old state, modify it, and insert it back. Like handle dig. Or object interaction. Use maybe. We use the lift get out of here. But how can we... yeah, I don't know if we can. I got rid of that. All right, then it's like, okay, well, there's no game state in scope. Right. I don't think use from that example is going to work. What's the next type error we've got? Game state down here. What the type is world prime right now? Or what type is world prime? because we can't just do that. I think that looks kind of like our lens, yeah, our field lens. Right, F0 is our functor. F0 is our state, then we got a functor, whatever, S, and F to S, yeah. But it expected to type text for some reason. And what does make fields? Yeah, maybe it's something with make fields. Make classy 4, make fields. Generate overloaded field accessors. And join these classes. This is where you get those functional dependency errors from. Instance has x, a foo of a of int. Fills out the instances for you. Yeah. I don't know. Not super important. Just gonna leave it the way it was. I'll push this up. Good. Good. Okay. No, that's pretty good. That's some pretty good refactoring for now. Let's look at our to-do file. I think we're almost out of time, but game objects is the next one we probably want to try. Containers and stuff. Okay, let's look at game objects. Okay. What would be super cool here is just having a succinct way of like looking into a container and getting an item or whatever. That sort of stuff. Because they're really, really nested. Right, we have a map of names to game objects to get the container items, what it contains. Keyed by name, because that's what the user is going to be inputting. They're not going to be putting in entity IDs. That could actually probably be cleaned up to be entity IDs. Maybe. And then we would have a map from an item name to entity ID. Either way, that's what it is right now. And so getting the container, we have game object, right? And a game, like you can see here, describe game object, like is nested. The game, there's an object container because we have item objects and containers. See object here, object item, object containers. We have game object that describes both of those cases. They could be part of them, but everything has a name and a description. So diving into a container is going to require prisms to get into the object, whether we're looking at an item or a container. And then we can traverse further across that prism and then do other stuff. So this is where you're going to have to get into a little bit of a fancier usage of lens, but it might buy us some simplicity up here. Locks, maybe. But the case I'm thinking of. Look in container. All right, we have to do all this matching out to get to things. That might be an area we could get some benefit from this, potentially. Take. Potentially another area where we might get some benefit from this. Yeah, because like this line would for sure. We could shorten that all down. We just have the lenses because this is just reads. Or no, it's setters. So it's setters across these objects. We'd be able to shorten that up. So, yeah. So let's do that. We're gonna have to import a bunch of stuff up here. Let's get it going. Oh, it's not control that mono. It's just control that lens, isn't it? Right. My bad. Control that lens. That's all we need. We're gonna need a bunch. Flexible. No, we're gonna need flexible. We're gonna need functional dependencies probably. A couple others. Okay. So let's do it. Let's start from the top down. We'll go to game object. That's not going to work, of course, because we need template Haskell. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and add that. Cool. That type error here. I don't think that's going to be super relevant for a moment. Or in a moment. Make fields a game object. We need to make prisms. So when you have a sum type like this, you got prisms. So you get, and these let you kind of, in a lens expression, traverse across the different constructors. object. A whole bunch of interesting ones. Let's just add the container. And I don't know if we game object. Yeah, it's gonna be fun times. So these are because, why are we getting these? I think the reason why this is happening is because when we're expanding this in Template Haskell, some things that are it's expecting to be in scope aren't in scope yet. And that's what's causing it. These not in scope errors. So if game object fails to compile, it's just cascading down stuff. Hopefully this will fix things if we just keep going. Only prisms for lock state. Maybe. We might not need them for lock state. Let's get these in scope in line here. That's actually a good one. Object isn't in scope. Okay. Well, there's a way to view errors in your template Haskell splices, I think. Get rid of that one for now. Let's make it smaller. Let's just get rid of all of them. Get this to rebuild again. And see if we can't fix it by putting it here. I'll make fields. Okay, that won't work because parse error. No. Interesting. That's a parse error. How about if we put it at the end of the file where everything's defined? Okay, that seems happy. Oh, I forgot template Haskell. Ha ha ha. That's the problem there. Importing control.lens, and it should fix that. There we go. Multi-param type classes. That's what I was expecting. Bam. Functional dependencies. Also expecting that one. Okay, it's happy when it's down there. Let's put it back next to game objects. Okay. So when this splice is being compiled, these type constructors exit and lock aren't in scope. So maybe we should just, if we're not really going to be using the lenses inside the file, this file, maybe we can just put them at the end. And that won't be a big issue. Otherwise, we just have to reorder our definitions around. So I want them for game object. I want them for object. I'll make prisms for object. And container item. Okay, go. That should compile. Sweet. Okay. Well, let's just stage that. And prisms for game objects. No description, pretty straightforward. And push it up. We'll have to continue this next week. I've run out of time for the stream this week, friends. So thanks for joining me. If this is your first time following or checking this out, I usually do these once a week on Tuesday nights at around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone or Eastern Time Zone, whatever it happens to be. And yeah, you can follow me on the socials. I'm on the Twitters at Agent Ultra, as well as on GitHub and everywhere else. The code for this, a project that I've been working on tonight, is on the GitHubs at Agent Ultra /Adventure Engine. So you can get it here if you'd like. I'm also on the Mastodons and the Fediverse at types.pl. I'm Agent Ultra there as well, so basically anywhere you see Agent Ultra, it's probably me. And yeah, You know, if you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. And if you follow here on Twitch, just follow here and you'll get updates when I go live. May all your monas be free. May your types always check. Have a good one. And I'll see you next week.